Tim's News Explosion. 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 Tim's News Explosion.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Tim's News Explosion on this Monday, the 25th of September, 2023. We are live on the Wilmsfront YouTube channel, the Wilmsfront Odyssey channel, and the Wilmsfront Rumble channel. I have got the Power Chat link in the YouTube live chat where you can send through a donation with a question or statement, and I'll read it out to. And it supports not just Tim's News Explosion, but all Unshackled productions. It is 9 p.m. here in Melbourne, Victoria, where it is AFL Grand Final week. So behind me, you can see my scarf. Go the Brisbane Lions. We will be up against Collingwood Magpies. Who would want them to win? I mean, they have supporters like Slack Bastard, and their leader of their cheer squad for many years was underage boy molester Joffa Korf. There's a lot of crossover between Collingwood membership and Antifa membership. Antifa had a bad lose in Melbourne on Saturday after claiming total victory last Friday night in Thornbury, where they claimed they chased Nazis from their fundraiser for White Rose Society and the Black Power Union. I can't remember what it was called at the Cafe Gummo. Now, they were promoting all week that they were going to be protesting the National Socialist Network gym out in Sunshine West, and they even posted, they got one of the Daily Show correspondents, Ronnie Chen, to hold up one of their posters, Drive the Nazis Out of Melbourne. And now they ended up, campaign against racism and fascism. If you follow your Melbourne Antifa communist organizations, there's a lot to keep up with. CARF, for short, they're connected to the Socialist Alternative. So they, at 2 p.m, they were all out at Sunshine West, which is about 20-30 minutes to the CBD. The Melbourne Worldwide Freedom Rally / No for the Voice began at 12. It went through the Melbourne CBD to Flinders Street, so there were speeches at Parliament, then down at Flinders Street, and then marched back to Parliament House. They arrived back at 2 p.m, and guess who showed up?
Time no chill. Time not now. He's there. Time not now. He's there.
Is there racism to be pro-white?
Get off the stairs now! Ignorant! Everyone over here! How you say? Form the line! Police members, form the line!
Thank you for removing these assholes! We are all brothers and sisters. This isn't against black and white. Get your bloody sign down.
Now, that woman who called the NSN assholes and thanked Victoria Police was Jacqui Dundee, who is a long-time Melbourne freedom activist. She's been arrested several times and fined by the Victoria Police, so I'm not sure why she is thanking them. And at the beginning, the man who was yelling over the megaphone, "No, Tom, no," that's Harrison McLean, who is the leader of Melbourne Freedom Rally. He hadn't been online much this year, posting on Telegram, so I thought maybe that he'd moved on, but he was there to lead the march. And so you saw Victoria Police for the second time move the NSN off the steps, and you saw some fat Antifa bitch try to steal their Australian flag and then fall to the ground like a fat sack of lard. So Victoria Police have the authority to remove people from the steps of Parliament under the Parliamentary Precincts Act of 2001. So the number 4 schedule parliamentary reserve. And so they were forced onto the south side of the building. So even though they're at Antifa were protesting an empty building out at Sunshine West, they were totally humiliated out there. But there was a remnant of them who I guess were hanging around the Freedom No to the Voice rally just in case something happened. They unfurled a banner which had in white writing on the Aboriginal flag, "Sovereignty was never ceded." So they tried to heckle and block Tom as much as possible. Obviously, there was a number of freedom people who did not like the NSN being there and accused them of being feds and said, "Oh, the mainstream media is going to lump you with you lot." There was quite the back and forth. Jacqui Dundee, the full video is on the Unshackled YouTube, Rumble, and Odyssey. There's a number of back and forth between primarily Jacqui Dundee and Tom. Tom, he obviously the NSN, they had their sign "Voice equals anti-white." Tom, I guess you could call it a discussion or negotiation with the freedom activists about why he was there, or they were there, and why they were against the Voice.
It is a race. There are foreign agents in your camp. Avi Yemeni and Aussie Cossack serve foreign governments, and they spread lies and rumours that we are feds. They spread lies and rumours that we work for Dan Andrews. They spread lies and rumours that we are your enemy. We are Australian citizens. We are proud Australians. We are not employed by anyone except ourselves. We do this despite our bank accounts being shut down. We do this. We are National Socialist.
Come on, cunt. Come on. Fucking come on then, cunt.
The only thing to defeat.
You fucking talk shit, mate.
The only thing they fear. Right after Dan Andrews' government and the Jewish community have fast-tracked the banning of the Roman salute. They haven't fast-tracked the banning of you standing there with your opinions because you are not a threat. The Roman salute is a threat to their power because it is a symbol of our unity as a people. It's good for you to work together. That's your option. The Chinese community are working as Chinese. The Jewish community are meeting at the synagogue. They're working together as Jews. The Aboriginals mostly are working together as Aboriginals. Okay, the whites need to also work together as whites. So if we're multicultural, if we're a democracy, if this is a freedom, then why can't white people have a voice as well? Why must we come? Why must white people come to these rallies and constantly apologize? We're so sorry. Acknowledge acknowledgement of country and all this nonsense and listen to other people's culture? Why can't we stand up as white people and say, we're voting against this because it's against white people? Why are you against that? We stand with Sam Newman. We want the acknowledgement of country. Boo! We stand with Sam Newman. We think that it's a disgrace. We think it's an insult. And I don't need to be welcome to my own country.
Now, there was about 1,000 people at the Freedom Rally in Melbourne. So the mainstream media, they tried to claim there was only about 100. There was a 9 News female reporter there. Every time she tried to do a piece to camera, and she had 2 security guards with her. They weren't wearing security, but they were clearly, obviously there to, I don't know, protect her from what. But they're just security. They have no authority to push people away from the shot or to prevent people from heckling her. So that was quite amusing. Now, at the speeches at at Parliament House. Now, Avi Yemeni and Rakshan Fernando, they were not there. They were up in Sydney covering the Sydney No to the Voice, which was headlined by John Ruddick, Liberal Democrats MLC for New South Wales, former federal Liberal MP and now New South Wales Liberal Democrat President Ross Cameron, former United Australia Party and Liberal MP Craig Kelly, and also one of the new One Nation MLCs. So I saw Damien Richardson there, though he did not speak. Morgan C. Jonas of the Freedom Party of Victoria, he was invited to speak, and well, this is what happened when he was given the microphone.
I'd like to introduce Morgan. I've just seen him. This is not organised. He's just rocked up in the crowd. Would you like to come and have a few words, Morgan? Please welcome Morgan.
I've been here. There's no money here for you to make. That's okay. Let's just let him speak. No, that's fine. That's okay. How you going? We're going to retry. Come on, guys. I'm working all the time on the cause. I'm working all the time. You guys want to hear me speak? Should these people leave me alone and just give me some space? The money that you raise. I never stole anything. Yeah? Where's the money? We haven't ever written on here. That's not political. We don't make money here. We don't make money here. Ladies and gentlemen, do we need more or less division in our country? Do we need amendments to our constitution that further divides our people along the lines of race? Do we agree that referendums should be reserved for issues that are designed to unite our country and not divide our country?
Now, in fairness to Morgan, he was telling the truth. He does have a day job. He's not frolicking the Northern Hemisphere like his ex-fiancée Monica Smith, although she claims that her trip is self-financed. But it is clear that they are not fans of either the Freedom Party or Reignite Democracy Australia in the continuing freedom movement. I thought I saw at the rally, I thought I saw Monica, but it was actually the SBS reporter because I could see her microphone flag. So they were there. And SBS News, they were also up in Sydney. And guess who they interviewed and put to air?
Hyde Park, another no rally.
I am fearful that if it does pass, that the voice will be used to go against the Parliament's will or against the Australian people's will and impose the Aboriginal agenda on this country.
Feeling.
Now, I saw that White Rose Society and alternate media watchers were like, how come you didn't make sure that you didn't put a neo-Nazi to air? Basically, White Rose Society alternate media watchers, they basically think that the mainstream media should consult them about every person they interview at every rally. Now, the Antifa communists, they are huge fans of the mainstream media when they parrot their narrative to a T. It's funny that they, even though they want to turn Australia into a communist country, they still love love getting mainstream media coverage and want to shape the mainstream media narrative. Now, there was also the Australia First gropers there, Gabriel Mare, the host of Australia First. He was there. His show is on at 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, an hour before Tim's News Explosion. So there was quite a large nationalist presence in both cities, though the majority of, given that it was the No to the Voice rallies were held in conjunction with the worldwide freedom rallies, a lot of members of the freedom movement are Aboriginal sovereignty activists, and so there were a lot of them. They are voting no because they believe that having the voice in the Constitution would cede Aboriginal sovereignty or to the government and the elites, or the corporation who they believe is governing Australia, and will lead to global communist takeover. Tricky Tritty from the People's Revolution, who organises the Brisbane events, he's an Aboriginal sovereignty activist. Now, I saw this article on the ABC. Well, it's they put it as an investigation, and it talks about this documentary from 40 years ago, Red Over Black, which was it was also a book as well by ex-communist Jeff McDonald, and it talks about the Aboriginal land rights movement as it's being used by the communists as subversion. It's available to free to watch on YouTube. So Jeff McDonald talks about how it's a goal of communists to undermine Western systems of government by championing Indigenous rights and sovereignty. Now, there was a segment on ABC News, and they said, "Oh, we debunked this at the time," even though on Aboriginal lands where Aboriginals live, they're basically communist societies. You're not allowed to own private property. All of these Aboriginal self-government areas, they're basically run communist style. So they are a communist dreams. And Dave Hiscock, he has retired the XYZ, but it seems his legacy lives on because it mentions this investigation. It is by Kevin Newen and Michael Workman. So it says that the anti-Semitic website XYZ, founded by white supremacist David Hiscock, linked McDonald's work to the proposed voice and described it as communism by the back door. Well, Marsha Langton, she was a communist in the 70s. Thomas Mayo and Tila Reid, prominent voice activists, praised the Communist Party of Australia. It mentions the Telegram channel Aboriginal Voice Exposed, and it mentions it as one of the most shared anti-Indigenous, anti-voice to Parliament spaces on Telegram. So they're really pumping them up here. And it also mentions down here that these videos. It says that since it was so it mentions black-pilled research videos, and it says that since it was posted on Facebook on July 23, it has been shared almost twice as many times as any post by the official Yes 23 campaign. Well, that sucks for the Yes 23 campaign. Has outperformed most official Vote No material, including that of Jacinta Price and No advocate Warren Mundine, and most of One Nation's leader Pauline Hanson's. And so they doxed the owner of Blacklisted Research as Daniel Walker. And so he, when he was contacted by the ABC, he denied it ever produced videos and blocked the ABC. He later posts about the interaction and other approaches made by the ABC on the Blacklisted Research Telegram channel. And now it's got here Pat Dodson, who rejects that communists have been a part of the Aboriginal land rights movement and have infiltrated First Nations organizations. And it mentions that, well, it claims that today Communist Australia are split on the Voice. The Australian Communist Party has directed its members to vote no, while members of the Communist Party of Australia will last weekend walking in support of the Yes campaign. And you remember, even though Thomas Sewell and the NSN, they were heckled and yelled at by the No campaigners in attendance, the communists weren't kicked out of the Yes campaign. They were more than happy to march with communists, and they're also happy to march with degenerates who wear puppy masks and crop tops, which expose their fat, hairy gut. And you see those three women around this fat guy, and they're just nonplussed. They're happy for this. He's basically drinking kink fetish gear. They're happy for him to be the official Yes rally. I mean, that's just disgusting. And of course, there is, remember, there is, we saw at outside Parliament House in Canberra last week, we saw the disgusting spit. Now I haven't uploaded this footage, but I'll get this gross footage for you. So yeah, we all the radicals on the Yes campaign side, they there has not been there has not been the open disavowal of them, but of course the now Fair Australia, which is the official No campaign. Oh, I'll get that disgusting thing off the screen. Sorry. This is Associate Professor of Australian National University, Denise Ferris, spitting at a no vote.
Get out of the way.
Don't you dare.
Get out of the way. You just grabbed my phone and assaulted me.
Get out.
Right, that's now. What's your name? What's this crazy bitch's name? She just spat on me. What is this crazy bitch's name?
Don't stalk me. Go away.
You just spat on me. You've been now done for assault. What is your name? What's your name?
Calling the police.
Good, call the police now. You just spat on me.
I did not.
You did just spit on me.
And I love this cartoon. Spit. I did not. Yes, you did. It was captured on camera. So yes, these so we've got disgusting spitters, degenerates, and communists in the Yes campaign. And the Yes campaign, a lot of Yes activists, I should say, a lot of them said, "Oh, we don't condone spitting. Oh, but that guy, he has a history of abusing people he disagrees with politically, and was taken to court, especially women." So basically saying he asked for it. I mean, provocation is not a defense to anything. And she was not she was not spitting in self-defense. I mean, she just should have been like, if he was being a rat bag, just be the better person. But these lefties, these triggered lefties, they just can't help themselves. They just get triggered. Lady of Charlotte says she'll probably get a promotion from ANU. Well, she's an Emirates professor, so she's basically retired. ANU have removed her profile from their website, so they've quietly deleted her. But going back to this ABC investigation, and of course the expert that they quoted here, going back here, leading far right and conspiracy theory researcher Cass Ross described it as the deliberate infiltration strategy of the anti-voice campaign by sections of the far right. And at the end, you see how triggered Cass is. She's a professor down at the University of Tasmania. She is basically, well, she's she's the size of a walrus, basically. I think she just sits at her at a computer all the time because she watches everything. She probably watches me. She's even looked into my life, and so she watches all of Blair and Tom's things. She's basically like what Peter Grace used to be, except she doesn't make videos. So it says, Dr. Ross said Australian white supremacists saw the referendum as an opportunity to build support for their base and grow their audience. The freedom movement, which is naturally opposed to government, was also a fertile recruiting ground for them. I find it very distressing, actually, to see the freedom movement as being manipulated and their biases used to create a convincing narrative to vote no. They may not even be aware that they've been sharing anti-Semitic content. They don't even know they've been manipulated. Now, of course, Cass Ross doesn't support the freedom movement either. She calls them cookers as well. So she's not really sympathetic with. She's just upset that the freedom people are voting no, and no is. Well, the latest polls, Lady of Shalott, I think, mentioned the latest poll. Yes is down to 36%. That is News poll, and 56% for no. There is the Redbridge poll by Kos Samaras, who is one of Dan's buddies. So that has yes at 38% and no at 62%. There was an equally hilarious article over at Crikey, Australia's sleepwalking down the road to white supremacism, and obviously using Peter Dutton as the image. It's basically trying to dog whistle about him. And Thomas Sewell, Joel Davies, and Blair Cottrell are actually quoted. A lot of their live streams are quoted here by this Crikey columnist, Maeve McGregor. And I won't go through for it all. It says it's such insights such as these that show why it's irresponsible and no longer possible for anyone to pretend the sum of the right's actions is a form of harmless pandering to bigotry, unreality, and no more. In the same way that Trump's politics changed the paradigm, tenor, or debate on racial issues in the United States for worse, the right to approach the voice debate heralded a shift in the alt-right's trajectory. Now, in the years to come, oh no, there is, in other words, a sense of dangerous static energy enveloping the country. And once the lightning strikes, we may find ourselves hostage to the illiberal and extremist currents that come to animate our society. And that quote, Sewell, I'm just going to wing it, Sewell said. We're going to start off soft, and we might amplify as we get to see how the media reacts and the left reacts. That's how I'm going to play. There lies the potential future direction of our country, and it's frightening. They're frightened because they're going to lose. And so they're trying that, the argument now that, if Australia votes no, it's because they've been hoodwinked by white supremacists propaganda, or that they've succumbed to Russian interference, because this Age article basically it claimed that all of the no events nationwide were being organized by the Aussie Cossack Simeon Boykov, who is at the Russian consulate in Sydney because he's wanted on suspicion of assault. He allegedly pushed a 76-year-old Ukrainian man down the stairs when he was confronting pro-Ukraine protesters at Sydney. I think it was earlier this year's time as he's already been in prison for naming a person under a suppression order. So he's already been imprisoned for that. I mean, in my opinion, he should just, he can't. They can't take it, airlift him to Russia from there. So he should just come out and just do the time again. I mean, obviously, it would have been hard on him during the. It was still when there was the COVID protocols in prison. Now tomorrow, Thomas Sewell and Jacob Hersant, they could be heading back to prison. Well, Thomas Sewell could be heading back to prison. I should say he did 7 months on remand after he and Jacob Hersant were charged with armed robbery when there was a confrontation between masked men and Antifa who followed the NSN to one of their camps in the Cathedral Ranges. Both Thomas Sewell and Jacob Hersant, they have pleaded guilty to violent disorder, and so they will be sentenced tomorrow. So we shall see. We might have seen the last of Thomas Sewell for a little while. Jacob Hersant hasn't been able to attend or associate with any NSN members because he was deemed a witness in the case. So once they are sentenced and potentially serve jail time, Jacob will be allowed to rejoin the National Socialist Network. Now, I've mentioned, so if no wins, then it's due to white supremacist propaganda, Russian interference, and of course, mis and disinformation as well. Now, we have had Magda Szubanski, who I have called Big Fat Sister. So she has said, yes, voters and reasonable undersides, a favor, please could you screen cap and document any misinformation, defamation, lies being put about by the No campaign accounts they are coming from, just for future reference. Thanks muchly. And I didn't create this Photoshop of Magda Szubanski with the KFC bucket on her head and the fact that she's so large a scoreboard could fit on her. But when you want to do a big fat hit piece on somebody like Magda Szubanski, you should basically go for it. And Magda Szubanski, her misinformation and disinformation reporting is already leading to re-education of people. We had Magda turn up at Rukshan's place where he apologized for all of the mis and disinformation he has been spreading.
Hi, my name is Rukshan Fernando, and I'm here to apologize for saying that the Uluru Statement from the heart is more than 1 page long.
Very low tolerance.
Yes, Ms. Magda, I'm so sorry. The Uluru Statement from the heart is just 1 page. Even though I quoted Professor Megan Davies, I misquoted her when she said was longer than 1 page. For this, I apologize and accept my punishment for spreading this information. I also want to apologize for saying that the Voice to Parliament is racially divisive. It is not racially divisive, even though it inserts race-based advisory body into the Constitution. This does not mean it is racially divisive. I also want to note that the image I shared of Miss Magda here in a certain makeup attire was in fact not an accurate description of what was portrayed in that image, and was also misinformation and disinformation. For this, I am greatly sorry,
we
and I
obey the
accept.
rules, the sooner this will all be
Yes,
over.
Magda, I accept my punishment.
So Rukshan is fully reformed now. And I'm not sure if any of you noticed, we were talking about how large Magda has got, but look how much slimmer Rukshan is. He has been training and dieting, and he looks in very good shape. Now, he and Avi Yemeni hosted Sam Newman on the Opposition podcast on Thursday evening because there was another attempt to cancel Sam Newman, the AFL Hall of Famer, co-host of the Footy Show for 25 years. He now co-hosts the You Cannot Be Serious podcast with Hawthorn great Don Scott. My headline is self-explanatory. Sam Newman did nothing wrong. And Sam stated the fact that these welcome to country ceremonies, they were invented by Ernie Dingo as a tourism gimmick from the 70s. And he called upon attendees at the AFL Grand Final to boo or slow clap the welcome to country, which I would certainly encourage them to do. And now, in an interview on 3AW Mornings with Tony Jones, he accused Sam of crossing some made-up line in the Voice referendum debate, because the Yes campaign is losing there. Because remember, rules for radicals. The debate has always got to be on their terms. So if you step outside of their terms, then they say, "Oh, it's unfair," or "You're going outside the realms of respectable debate." And what's the other line they have? "Our democracy is at stake." So it's Tony Jones accused Sam Newman, didn't accuse him, I should say, but asked him if he was inciting violence with his comment. Apparently booing is now inciting violence. So does that mean that when Adam Goodes was booed, that was inciting violence? Even though Adam Goodes was being booed because he was a flog who, well, he dived for free kicks, and everyone was sick of his championing of the black armband view of history and shaming that 13-year-old girl who called him an ape, which he claimed was she was the face of racism, when she just called him an ape because he was hairy. And also, Tony Jones asked Sam, I should say, if he was a racist, and Sam said, "Well, what is racism?" And then, not surprisingly, the 3AW Talkback callers, they backed him, which shows just how sick and tired footy fans and mainstream Australians are with these welcome to country shows, because they're before every AFL final. At the MCG, it's always Uncle Colin, and it's always a bloody bore. And later on, Tony Jones interviewed Lydia Thorpe, who called Sam a racist and a misogynist, and called on the AFL to ban Sam from attending all future AFL matches. There's now a petition to get him removed from the AFL Hall of Fame. And Lydia Thorpe also claimed that 30 years ago, Sam Newman in Barnsdale tried to hit on her. Can you believe it? And Gillon McLachlan, who's the outgoing AFL CEO, he said, "I'm not going to dignify those sorts of individual responses out in the community other than to say I disagree very definitively." And Dan Andrews decided that he would chime in, saying, "When considering the perspectives of past footballers, I'm more inclined to heed the words of Uncle Michael Long over Sam Newman." And he said that, "Why would someone jeer at the most ancient continuous culture known to humanity?" So a culture not evolving is considered good. Like, so what is that? The Nordic people should still be living like Vikings. That would be to celebrate. That's not a moment for disdain. It's a moment for celebration. Dan Andrews said. Now, Sam. I'll just play
Huge
this.
day. We're advocating the no vote, and if you want to buy one of these caps, you can get them from michaelchristianmenswear.com. Why you would say yes is beyond me, but if you want to, go ahead. Let's hope you don't. We spoke to Doc.
Yes, so Michael Christensen's menswear is where you can grab a no cap if you want. So it's michaelchristianmenswear.com. Oh, what's happened to it? It's gone. What happened? Oh, don't tell me. Oh, that is genuinely disappointing there. Oh, I hope it hasn't been pulled and that link is, maybe it's sold out. Who knows? Now, we've had also coming out publicly against The Voice, we've had Angry Anderson of Rose Tattoo, an actor on Fat Pizza and Howzos. So he appeared on Fred Paul show on ADH TV he said the truth that those pushing the yes vote are communists. He put out a lengthy statement on his Facebook page saying why it was a no from him. And Kamal on Twitter, he posted that he was voting no. He copped a lot of backlash and abuse. Then he said he was voting yes. And so he was praised for changing his mind. And Anthony Albanese said that there's Kamal momentum now. He's an example of people who can go from no to yes when they educate themselves about what The Voice is really about. And so, well, Kamal was invited on the project last night, and I haven't uploaded this video. I've got too many videos. And now Kamal, in case you don't know who he is, he has been a singer in Australia for over 50 years. He was originally born in Malaysia. He is of Tamil Indian descent. He has backed the conservative side of politics politically over the past 30 years. He was disgustingly attacked earlier this year by the angry old ABC left. So I can believe used to make films with Barry Humphries. But yes, he Philip Adams said that Don Bradman was a racist, and Kamal said, "Well, how come he was friends with me?" And he said, "Well, it's because Don Bradman touched you and Marie White, so it's quite disgusting." Linda Hunter says, "What does Bert Newton reckon?" Well, Bert Newton is dead, so. And now, like I can see the internet taking a shit. It's because I have so many videos that I have to upload. It's uploading now. So obviously on the yes side, they had a MC Hammer come out in favor of the yes vote, and the politician was saying, "Yeah, this is great," even though MC Hammer is American, so why is he getting involved in a foreign political? Isn't that foreign interference? So it's funny that the left, they have this campaign. They have fallen into the trap of thinking that celebrity endorsements, corporate endorsements, and also they got John Farnham out. And there was actually a report that said that John Farnham, his ad actually backfired. So they got John Farnham out for Cathy Freeman, but it'd be shocking if Cathy Freeman support The Voice. I mean, and they just recently, Chris Minns announced that one of the stands at Stadium Australia would be renamed the Cathy Freeman stand. I don't know why they're just doing it now in the lead up to the Voice referendum. I mean, it should have been done 10 years ago. So I've got the video now. So this is Kamal. He was invited on the project to explain why he, they invited him on to explain why he had switched from no to yes. And this is what happened.
Started with a flippant no about 10 days ago. And then a few days later, I was persuaded to believe yes would be the way to go. And when I eventually got home, 48 hours later, I had reason to believe that I might have made a mistake. In fact, I did make a mistake. And knowing as much about it as I do know now than I did before.
So hang on, Kamal, you were originally saying no, and then you went to yes. So are you back on no?
Yeah, because no is an informed decision. The first no was an uninformed decision, and then a yes was a semi-informed decision, and now 100% I am well and truly committed to saying no.
Hang on, so what changed your mind?
The facts. The fact is that this whole thing, if this comes to be, it becomes based on race. The Aboriginals have, or the Indigenous Torres Strait Island people already have a voice. It's a purely an opportunity or making an effort to find out what they want to say and what should be done for them. And at the moment, it's $40 billion a year. $40 billion a year. To the Indigenous people. Where's the money going to?
So that didn't go to script. And now this was pre-recorded on the project. The project, most of their interviews are pre-recorded and they edit them before they go to air. Kamal said that he was unhappy with the project's edit. They made him out to look stupid and ill-informed. Now the yes voters who are praising him, they now say he's a senile, old 88-year-old man. So again, this is proof that they need to ditch the celebrity endorsements, the yes campaign. Like, why does it matter the vote of one person? Though this could be just an epic troll by Kamal that he wanted to basically fool the yes campaign to say that, oh yes, I'm coming around now, but then going into further and then say no and then trolling the project. If he'd done that, then I would say bravo. You're actually quite clever. Your brain is really sharp at 88. So forget the celebrity endorsements yes campaign. Forget Shark, Cathy Freeman, MC Hammer, John Farnham. Gabriel Mare has just joined the chat. What's up, everyone? Good to see you here, Gabe. I'll tune into your show before mine. Linda Hunter says, why are people so unkind was the better joke, Kamal. And I'm not sure if this is the Thomas Sewell here, but he said, get in the gym, Wilms. Yes, that is blunt. I could do some more exercise. I mean, I do some fast walking, but that's about it. When you're a news nerd for a living, you spend too much time indoors. So fair comment there. And now we've got Andy Nolt here saying, of course, the project pre-records, lol, they're so terrible. I imagine their ratings are so bad these days. Well, if Channel 10 was actually a proper commercial network, they would have axed the project many, many years ago. It's never rated. It's just basically a vanity project by the executives. So it looks like they have a entertainment and news program. Ron Nelson says, how weird are the people on Q&A? The people on the far left. Oh, Q&A, it's even worse than the project. It's so boring. It's just all these pompous panelists in the audience saying, where's such the enlightened people? Why can't everyone think the way that we do? And of course, Patricia Carvelis, she is a far leftist from the ABC. She is the new new host of Q&A. She's also a Collingwood supporter, so another reason why you should not be barracking for Collingwood this weekend. Also, Barry Cassidy, the far leftist who used to host Inside, is also a Collingwood supporter. And of course, Eddie Maguire, massive SJW when he was Collingwood president. His brother Frank Maguire was the Labor MP for Broadmeadows. So there you go again. I mean, basically, unless you prove otherwise, I consider all Collingwood supporters are far leftists. And maybe there's, I don't know, maybe Collingwood and Antifa do 2-for-1 memberships. But I digress. Going back to Q&A, yes, Patricia Karvelis, she was also a COVID cultist. She was a mask lover. She posted on Twitter, I remember in 2021, that flying double mask was the way to go. And now Anthony Albanese, last week, he announced that there would be a COVID inquiry, but it wouldn't be a royal commission. So it would be a three person panel. So if I go here, that where shall I go here? I'm just doing so. Make sure I get the names right. Yeah, so there's going to be three people on this inquiry panel. So there is going to be. Why can when you Google? This is the thing about Google. You Google some information. Try to Google some information, and you actually can't find it. Okay, so here we go. Here. Okay, forget the name. So there's going to be an economist, epidemiologist, and there is going to be a public administration expert. But the thing about this Royal Commission is that it excludes unilateral decisions by the state. So it excludes Dan Andrews' lockdowns, Anastasia Palaszczuk's border closures. So it's supposed to only focus on the Commonwealth. So here we go here. So the epidemiologist is Catherine Bennett. She's one of the least bad epidemiologists. Dr. Angela Jackson, who is a health economist and former Director General of the New South Wales Health Department, Robin Kruk. So it's going to take a year. We don't even know whether there'll be public hearings. I see that New South Wales Welsh Redneck says that they're all women, so they'll all ask the right questions. The UK COVID inquiry is just a joke. I mean, they're concluding that Britain didn't lock down earlier, even though that wouldn't have kept the virus out. The New Zealand inquiry is chaired by Tony Blakely, who was one of Dan Andrews' favourite epidemiologists because he was pro-lockdown, and it was Tony Blakely's supercomputer that Dan Andrews based his slow pathway out of lockdown in 2020. Now, the parola BA 2.86 has arrived in Australia. It was detected in Western Australia. So we've got the new super ninja variant here. But contrary to the COVID crazies desires, it is not taking over the world. In fact, the latest US wave is peaking. So it doesn't look like they're going to be able to, in the United States, push masks and more boosters for much longer if the amount of infections and people in hospital with COVID continues to go down. But here in Australia, it is the disaster warning is, of course, about a potential black summer of bushfires, with it was Coincidentally, at the beginning of the 30+ degree days in Sydney last week, beautiful weather. It was beautiful down here. It's going to be beautiful weather here in Melbourne this week, 27 degrees for the grand final. But these high temperatures are really bad. The sunshine is bad. George Harrison's Here Comes the Sun song is actually now a horror song. Here comes the sun. Yes, so coincidentally, last week on the first 30-degree day of the spring and summer season, the Australian Bureau of Meteorology declared an El Nino event, so hot and dry. It's a natural weather phenomenon. We haven't had one for 8 years. And we have all of these experts and commentators on the news saying, we're not bushfire ready. And of course, it's the El Nino is due to climate change. I mean, if there was as much effort put into making us bushfire prepared rather than just complaining that we're not bushfire prepared on the news, might actually be it might actually be ready. Now, Peak Ozyman has said, here comes the sun, far right him. Yes, wanting there to be sunshine now, enjoying the sunshine. Remember, I did a whole program in the middle of 2022 last year when it was over 40 degrees in the UK for 2 days. The Met Office and the UK Health Security Agency, they put out a red alert national emergency. Now, there have already been major bushfires in Tennant Creek in the Northern Territory. And now some of those fires, they have arrested somebody. A man has been charged with deliberately lighting 18 fires. Already there has been 18 fires in the Northern Territory lit by one person, that's incredible. And we saw in Greece 79 arsonists. Andy Nolt says that they are really talking up the bushfires. Man, I think they're going to light so many fires this spring and summer. Well, that's scary that one arsonist can cause so much damage. Now, the Northern Territory, things are really shit up there with all the crime and dysfunction. And there was one angry Northern Territorian who the Chief Minister, Natasha Files, she was at a constituent event outside of Bendigo Bank. And so a local constituent decided to give her just desserts.
Run.
Let's have a look at that again.
Run.
Now, it wasn't a cream pie. It was a cream freight. So it was a pancake with cream on it. Now, obviously, we don't approve of political assault with food, but you do get a giggle when it happens to to politicians that you detest. And also businessmen you detest, like Alan Joyce. Remember, he got pied by the anti-same-sex marriage campaigner in Perth in 2017. The last leftist politician to get pied was Steve Bracks, the Victorian Labor Premier, in around about 20 years ago. And now the alleged perpetrator is a 56-year-old real estate agent, Susie Millgate. So she's been arrested and charged with aggravated assault after shoving the dessert in Miss Files' face around 11:40 a.m. at Darwin's Nightcliff Markets. Speaking to the media for the first time after being charged, Millgate dismissed the seriousness of the assault, questioning how hard is fresh cream. She got her good, I mean, she wasn't, she was quite shocked. It was just a cream pie. I just wanted some answers. It was out of frustration. She won't talk to the people and address the real issues of Darwin. It's fresh cream. How hard is fresh cream? The 56-year-old described her move as a slight error, but again tried to underline the harmlessness of the object used in the alleged assault. It's a minor error. I didn't mean to cause her any harm whatsoever. It was out of complete frustration, not being heard and ignored for 3.5, nearly 4 years, not addressing the crime, the violence, the murders, all of Darwin. She does not care about anyone in Darwin. In vision circulating on social media, a woman wearing a green dress appears to approach Miss Charles from behind before crushing the cream pie loaded dessert onto her face. She came from the front. She didn't come from behind. In the interview, Milgate claimed to have contacted Miss Files 3 to 4 years ago when she was the health minister over a health issue. Miss Files has told Sky News she was left shaken by the incident and suffered some bruising to her left eye. Milgate says she disagreed with the extent of Miss Files' injuries. I don't believe it's a soft cream. She's such a drama queen. Milgate reiterated there was no harm intended over the alleged assault and said everyone in Darwin has had a gutful of her. And the interview came as Miss Files fronted the media on Monday with a visibly bruise under her eye. It's unacceptable behaviour and the police are investigating. I'll leave it to them to do their job. Now, let's have a look again to see if she did. Let's see how hard it was and whether and which direction she came from.
Run.
Now, I notice up here, New South Welsh Redneck says, yeah, remember when Fraser Anning and Craig Kelly both times the media cheered on the perpetrator? Exactly. Sarah Hanson-Young described Egg Boy Will Connolly as a national hero, and there was a legal fundraiser for him to raise legal funds and for more eggs. And remember, he only got a caution from Victoria Police, though. Egg Boy, he did mature into Egg Man. He turned against the Dan Andrews Labor government, becoming an anti-lockdown activist. Now the coward girl who egged Craig Kelly from behind, she just got a slap on the wrist by the court. But remember when it happens to one of the lefties, oh, this is dangerous political violence. And I remember also 10 years ago, I remember St. Julia Gillard, when she visited a couple of schools, she got sandwiches thrown at her. There was one which was a Vegemite sandwich, and there was one which was a salami sandwich. And of course, I had a giggle at that at the time. But yes, it's extremely it's extremely concerning when it happens to lefties. But apparently, it's you can make fun of it and praise the perpetrators if a right-wing politician is egged. Now, over in the United States this week was a delegation of Australian MPs. So there was from the Greens, David Shoebridge and Peter Whish-Wilson, Teal Independent Monique Ryan, Liberal Senator Alex Antic, and Nationals MP, former Deputy Prime Minister Barnaby Joyce, a delegation to Washington, D.C. To lobby the US to free Julian Assange, that he should be brought home. And this is Julian Assange. It is a press freedom issue, and it's an issue that has brought together allies from across the political spectrum. And this photo, which I've got up on screen, has the five of them meeting Marjorie Taylor Greene. Did you ever see see this photo of Marjorie Taylor Greene with Monique Ryan and David Shoebridge and Peter Whish-Wilson from the Greens? I mean, it's great that they're willing to work all together on this freeing Julian Assange, who's been, well, because he embarrassed the deep state. They are wanting to extradite him to the United States, charge him with espionage, even though he's an Australian. How can he commit espionage against the United States when he's not even a US citizen? Now, because he's not a mainstream media journalist, that's the reason why they're going after him. And he is rotting away in a London prison. Is absolutely disgusting. So yes, Marjorie Taylor Greene and Monique Ryan. I mean, they're opposite ends of the mask debate. That's for sure. Lady Charlotte says, and the Americans took no notice of them whatsoever. Well, the deep state, they're not gonna. They don't want to let him go. They want to make an example of him. Now let's turn to Victoria, where last week Dan Andrews, he unveiled Victoria's housing statement, which is setting a target of building 800,000 homes in Victoria over the next decade. And so Dan Andrews is giving him, he is seizing planning powers from local governments. So developers will be able to have their applications fast-tracked if they set aside some social and affordable housing for those who need it most. Now, social and affordable housing, it's code for public housing, government-owned housing. Now, Labor and the Greens, they don't believe in the Great Australian Dream anymore. They believe in the renters. Now, they hate the landlords, and they want basically the government to be the landlord. You pay your rent to the government, and a government which has the power to give you a home has the power to take it away from you or lock you inside your home, as we saw with those 12 Housing Commission apartment towers during COVID, the Wuhan level lockdown. Now, Dan Andrews, he is going to be knocking down all of those 44 Housing Commission towers. Obviously, they bring back bad memories, and is going to be rebuilding them with more modern features. I don't know, maybe there'll be automatic locking in welded doors. So next pandemic, next lockdown, they can residents can be automatically locked or welded in. And in fact, there is on the Planning Victoria website, there is what's called future homes. And so developers, they can already pick from Dan Andrews approved housing to get their application fast-tracked. So developers, if they want housing built quickly, they can pick a pre-approved home. So your home can look like your apartment building can look like this or this or this or this. Doesn't that look so? All the homes are going to look the same in Melbourne. And in fact, in this, it's 44, the Victorian Building Statement. This is I call this Dan Andrews a communist central planning public housing building document. So Dan Andrews, he's deciding where new Victorians or those who, those who want a place of their own, he's decided where they're going to live. So there's going to be special zoning areas around what are called activity centres and priority precincts. So that is where there's going to be low, medium, and high density buildings. So if you live in Frankston, Moorabbin, Chadstone, Camberwell Junction, Ringwood, Epping, Preston, Essendon North, Broadmeadows, Footscray, Fisherman's Bend, Sunshine, and East Werribee, you're going to be getting a lot more neighbours in as well. And they're around all the public transport hubs. So around Dan's suburban rail loop, So they're around public transport, not around roads, because, well, in the future, you won't need to drive and you'll be happy because everything you need will be in a 15-minute city, 20-minute neighborhood. So Dan's got the public transport and the public housing for you to own nothing and be happy. Now, let's go over to the UK, where the Conservative government have passed the online safety bill. So when Rishi Sunak says that he's for free speech or makes any empty promise, it is completely worthless. So the online safety bill, it's basically the same as what Australia's proposed mis and disinformation bill will do. So the online safety bill gives the power to Ofcom, which regulates television and radio, to regulate social media companies so that they can order social media companies to censor content. Remember that Ofcom basically forced Mark Stein off the air from GB News. Remember, because people kept complaining to Ofcom on their investigations because he went against the COVID narrative. So they are completely worthless. And remember, Rishi Sunak has not stopped the boats. Neither has Sewell Braverman. They are all completely useless. You may as well just vote for Sir Keir Starmer and Labour. Although Rishi Sunak, he has announced a new eugenics policy. Would you believe it or not? Specifically, it's about eugenics when it comes to dog breeds. So because there have been a number of fatal attacks by dogs who are of the American Bully XL breed, Rishi Sunak is basically, well, he is going to basically final solution them. I don't know how you're going to make it so that they can't be bred. And now Mark Collett of Patriotic Alternative, he posted on his Telegram that he disagreed with the American bully ban. He said 0.3% of dogs commit more than 50% of fatal attacks on children. The only logical solution is to import more of these dogs, place them in the best kennels money can buy, put in place special affirmative action policies to ensure these dogs are given special rights in parks and other public places, then place more of these dogs around children while ensuring the children are educated more thoroughly on the specific needs of these dogs. Finally, special laws need to be passed preventing anyone from making disparaging comments about these dogs. These policies will make life better for everyone and bring about a safe utopian society. See, look at that cute dog. He wouldn't do nothing. So that's interesting there. And I mean, dog breeding, I mean, the whole thing's eugenesis. I mean, dog breeds have been created through basically eugenics throughout time and time. And I mean, that's how the German Shepherd and Golden Retriever breed were created. So obviously, all different breeds of dogs have different temperaments. I mean, I am a dog lover. Most dogs are pretty good, and if dogs are mistreated or abused, then that will make them an aggressive dog, regardless of the breed. Certainly, owners are irresponsible with their dogs because they've been attacked in the street. Children by just roaming the street. These American bullies, which is just absolutely irresponsible. Now, what else have we got here? We have got, well, over in Italy, we have got Giorgia Meloni. She has just completely given up controlling the borders. All of those thousands of illegal African migrants who showed up on the Biden, island. Biden is also letting in lots of illegals as well. Sorry, that was a Freudian slip of the tongue. There is actually more Africans, illegal African migrants from, well, they've traveled from Tunisia, they're probably from all over Africa on that island as people who actually live there. Georgia Maloney, she went to the island with Ursula von der Leyen, the EU president, and said we need a EU-wide solution. So she has she's just basically another Angela Merkel. That's because Angela Merkel, she originally said she was against multiculturalism. She was for social conservative family values, but all Giorgia Meloni is, she's just a thinner, more prettier version, an Italian version of Angela Merkel. Another, they're all like, as we've seen, Rishi Sunak, the UK Conservatives, useless. It's Giorgia Meloni, useless. Who else has been a great disappointment? I'm sure that mention in the comments if I've left out a leader who's promised great things and been completely useless. And now, briefly, before we end, let's turn over to New Zealand. Remember, their general election is on October 14th, same day as our voice referendum. So myself and Dewey de Boer will be bringing back Trad Tasman Talk for a Super Saturday special starting from 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, because Daylight Savings starts this weekend. So that will be live on the Unshackled channel. We'll start with the New Zealand results, which begin to come in at 7 New Zealand time, which is 5 Australian time. And then when the polls begin to close on the East Coast for the voice referendum, then we'll switch our attention to there. Now, the polls point to that the National Opposition leader, Chris Luxon, he will be able to form a slim coalition with the Libertarian ACT Party leader, David Seymour. Definitely the Labor Party now under Chris Hipkins, they're polling in the mid-20s now. So he basically is just a lame duck prime minister at this stage, taking over from the extremely unpopular Jacinta Ardern, who took the coward's way out and decided to resign before she was voted out. But she is still the darling of the global stage, and she appeared before the UN because she's championing the Christchurch call, which is to regulate social media, to take down hate, and disinformation. And this is what she told the UN General Assembly in New York.
This week we launched an initiative alongside companies and non-profits to help improve research and understanding of how a person's online experiences are curated by automated processes. This will also be important in understanding more about mis- and disinformation online, a challenge that we must, as leaders, address. Sadly, I think it's easy to dismiss this problem as one in the margins. I can certainly understand the desire to leave it to someone else. As leaders, we're rightly concerned that even the most light-touch approaches to disinformation could be misinterpreted as being hostile to the values of free speech that we value so highly. But while I cannot tell you today what the answer is to this challenge, I can say with complete certainty that we cannot ignore it. To do so poses an equal threat to the norms we all value. After all, how do you successfully end a war if people are led to believe the reason for its existence is not only legal but noble? How do you tackle climate change if people do not believe it exists? How do you ensure the human rights of others are upheld when they are subjected to hateful and dangerous rhetoric and ideology? The weapons may be different, but the goals of those who perpetuate them is often the same: to cause chaos and reduce the ability of others to defend themselves, to disband communities, to collapse the collective strength of countries who work together. But we have an opportunity here to ensure that these particular weapons of war do not become an established part of warfare. In these times, I'm acutely aware of how easy it is to feel disheartened. We are facing many battles on many fronts, but there is cause for optimism, because for every new weapon we face, there is a new tool to overcome it. For every attempt to push the world into chaos is a collective conviction to bring us back to order. We have the means. We just need the collective will.
And now, for those of you who are Christian in the chat, do you consider Jacinta Ardern one of the four horse faces of the apocalypse? Now, as I've brought to you last week, Kelly J. Keane, she did not return to New Zealand to attend the court appearance of the intersex person who threw tomato juice on her. So that was Ellie Rubashkun. Ellie, who is also known by another name as Elena Golberstein. So Elena was born in Colombia to a Jewish Ukrainian mother, then became a political refugee in New Zealand after they were detained in Hong Kong because their genders did not match up on their documents. So Ellie Rubashkon or Goberstein tried to get the charges dismissed. The justification was that because back in 2016 there was a member of the public who threw a sex toy at Stephen Joyce, a politician who wasn't charged, but Judge Ryan has said that they will rule in next month. So October 26th, Judge Claire Ryan will rule on that. Now, before we finish, let's go to Canada, where Justin Trudeau in the Canadian Parliament accused the Indian government of assassinating a radical Sikh separatist who's a New Zealand citizen. This was him.
Over the past number of weeks, Canadian security agencies have been actively pursuing credible allegations of a potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
And so in response, the Indian government has suspended the processing of Canadian visas. So basically, Canadians are banned from entering India. Now there are 17 Sikhs in the Canadian Parliament, which has about 350 members, just off the top of my head. And the leader of the New Democratic Party in Canada, which is Justin Trudeau's coalition partner, the leader Jamet Singh is a Sikh. And Anthony Albanese, he was asked, because remember that when Modi was in Australia, Anthony Albanese described him as the boss. Modi was followed wherever he went by radical Sikh separatists who want to create an independent state of Khalistan in the Punjab province. Narendra Modi, Prime Minister of India, is a Hindu nationalist, and so obviously views the Sikh separatists as a threat to Indian security and democracy. I've mentioned to you before that Indira Gandhi, Prime Minister of India, she was assassinated by 2 of her Sikh bodyguards in 1984. So it's not exactly the Indian government jumping at shadows here. So Anthony Albanese, when he was asked about, what do you think of this allegation, and Anthony Albanese told the reporter to take a chill pill. So India, obviously, in the it fits into the geopolitical power structure, in that obviously that Albanese, the reason why he has sucked up to Modi so much is because wants to empower China in an alliance against China. Remember, India is part of the Quad with the United States, Japan, Australia, and India is the Quad, basically the anti-China's club. And so Justin Trudeau, basically accusing, it's now the world's largest country, India. It has more citizens in it now than China. Accusing the world's largest country of assassinating a Canadian citizen on Canadian soil. It's a very serious accusation. He claims the Five Eyes intelligence, which includes Australia, New Zealand, UK and US have been a part of the investigation. So we'll see how long the fallout lasts. But India is certainly taken offense at this accusation. And also the Speaker of the Canadian House of Commons has had to apologize for honoring a 98-year-old Ukrainian Nazi. So this is by the Speaker. On September 22 in the House of Commons, I recognized an individual in the rally. I regret my decision to do so and accept full responsibility. This is the opposition Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says that it's come out today that Justin Trudeau personally met with and honoured a veteran of the 14th Waffen Grenadier Division of the SS Division. Liberals then arranged for the Nazi veterans to be recognised on the floor of the House of Commons during a visit when Vladimir Zelensky was visiting during a session of the Parliament. This is the footage here.
We have here in the chamber today Ukrainian Canadian world veteran from the Second World War who fought the Ukrainian independence against the Russians and continues to support the troops today, even at his age of 98.
And now you might remember a couple of weeks back, one of the neo-Nazis who was protesting in Florida, Hammer. I think he was part of was he part of the Order of the Black Sun or the other one, Goyim Defense League? But he said he was pro-Biden because Biden is pro-Ukraine, helping Nazis fight the Russians. And this is, of course, where the black and white narrative of Ukrainians good, Russians bad, basically falls apart, because there were many Ukrainians who, welcomed the Nazis as liberators, because remember that Stalin was genociding the Ukrainians in the Holodomor, as 7 to 11 million were killed. That's why there is this remnant of Nazis in Ukraine. And because he fought against the Russians, and obviously Ukraine is fighting the Russians now, they inadvertently thanked a 98-year-old SS veteran who is has he been hunted by the Nazi hunters and put on trial or anything? I don't know the background, but that is, that's what you call an insane moment in Canadian politics there. So things are quite insane up there in Canada at the moment. That's the end of Tim's News Explosion for another week, another epic Tim's News Explosion. I'll see you all tomorrow night for The Theorists with Andy Nolch. Now, Andy has asked me to share with you. Andy wants to stage a protest on grand final day at Jolimont train station. Boo the welcome to country. Are you sick of the propaganda? Support no campaign, bring megaphones, flyers. AFL grand final, Jolimont station, Saturday the 30th. I will put the Theorists link into the live chat. Make sure you subscribe to the Theorist YouTube channel. Give a thumbs up on all videos that are produced by Unshackled Productions. Leave a comment below on all our channels. Click the bell to allow for notifications. Remember that if you want to support the work of the Unshackled, you can take out an Unshackled premium membership. So it's bronze $5 per month, silver $10 per month, gold $25 per month, platinum $50 per month. So thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you tomorrow night. I will be next covering a public event at the March for the Babies on Saturday, October the 7th. That it begins at 1 p.m. at Treasury Gardens, though I always get there at 12. And it's led every year by Bernie Finn, a former Liberal MLC. He's going to be running for the Family First Party for the Senate, the next federal election. Looking forward to catching up with him and having a chat and see some of you there as well. So there is a lot happening. And of course, our live stream for the Voice referendum night. I'll send you the link very shortly for that. And also there'll be a fresh report with Tiger Mountain with Richard Wollstonecroft. Ron Nelson says, how much does Marg get? Are you talking about membership? No, Marg doesn't get a cut of TU membership. It just goes to cover the expenses of running StreamYard software, the website, and all the other things. That's what it. Bernie Finn is anti-abortion. Ron, are you just trolling at the moment? Anyway, thank you all for watching. Great to see you all, and I will see you all again tomorrow night. Remember, stay safe, stay sane, stay free, stay cool, because it's going to be warm. Put some sunscreen on, drink water, hat, and you'll enjoy the sunshine. Enjoy it, please. Good night, everybody.
Tim's News Explosion. 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 Tim's News Explosion.